A leopard never changes its spots is a common saying in English vernacular, and it conveys a widespread belief that people never change. So, for example, in a marriage where the husband has a history of being violent, despite him expressing great feelings of remorse, the leopard never changes his spots mentality suggests it will happen again. Unfortunately, this is often the case. Is it possible then for people to change fundamentally? I'm using the term fundamentally because I'm not talking about slight modifications to behaviour, such as beginning to eat healthily or take regular exercise. Rather, I am talking about a wholesale change in a person's value system and perspective on life. The answer to my question is a resounding yes when God and his Son Jesus Christ are given centre stage in one's life. To illustrate this point, let me share with you a short account of John Newton, the author of the famous Christian song Amazing Grace. Newton was a seaman involved in the slave trade. In 1748, on a sea voyage, he had a spiritual conversion. The ship was caught in a major storm off the coast of Ireland and almost sank. Newton prayed to God for his life, and the cargo miraculously shifted to fill a hole in the ship's hull, and the vessel drifted to safety. Newton took this as a sign from God and marked it as his conversion to Christianity. Despite this, he continued to participate in the slave trade. In 1750, he made a further voyage as master of the slave ship Duke of Argyll, and 2 voyages on the African. He admitted that he was still at the time a ruthless businessman and an unfeeling observer of the Africans he traded. He also admitted that he did not radically change his ways at once. He wrote later, "I cannot consider myself to have been a believer in the full sense of the word until a considerable time afterwards." He did, however, begin reading the Bible, and his eyes were open to the plight of his slave captives. However, it was not until 1788, 34 years after leaving the trade, that he renounced his former slaving profession by publishing a pamphlet called Thoughts upon the Slave Trade. The pamphlet described the horrific conditions on the ships, and Newton apologized for making a public statement so many years after participating in the trade. The pamphlet was so popular, it was reprinted several times and sent to every member of Parliament. Under the leadership of MP William Wilberforce, the English civil government outlawed slavery in Great Britain in 1807, and Newton would live to see it, dying in December of that year after many years as an Anglican church minister. Newton's change was radical and fundamental, and there are many similar examples of lives that have been changed as a result of coming to Christ. With Christ, the common factor is that people become better versions of themselves in the same way that John Newton did. We should not be surprised at this because the promise of a changed life with Christ is clearly conveyed by the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. Followers of Christ will recognize this promise. However, if you're not yet a believer, I can confirm from my own experience that, just like John Newton, you may not change immediately, but over time you will be changed and changed for the better. The direction in which you will change is stated in Ephesians 4 verses 22 to 24. You were taught, with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness.